Hi, I'm Craig, and I help veterans go from feeling stuck and unseen after service to living with confidence, connection, and purpose so that they can thrive in civilian life and relationships. Hey, vets and families, welcome to Royal Rock, where we help you reclaim your purpose, strengthen your relationships, and live royally and live well. Listen, I just want to thank everybody who has been liking and subscribing to my videos. I'm so grateful that you are here with us. I want to provide so much information to you and to your families so that you can make sure that you follow your claim the right way, the proper way, and that you have all of the help and the assistance that you need. And so I'm going to continue to provide that content. I look for more great things on the channel. If you like what we're doing, please continue to like, subscribe, and hit the notification button so that you can see the content that's fresh coming out when we bring it out. The other thing I want to mention is that I have 15 free claim playbook free PDF guides, strategic PDF guides for you. All you have to do is put a particular word in there. I'll have it in the video description what the 15 are. It's everything from filing a VA claim over 55 to CMP exams to building evidence for your claim, all kinds of things throughout the VA claims process. So I'm happy to share that with you. Just click, place in the comment whatever PDF you want, and I'll be glad to provide the link in the comment section for you. So you just received your VA decision letter. I don't want you to let confusion slow your claim process down. In today's video, I'll walk you through some important parts of the letter, benefit information, what to do if you disagree with the decision, explanation of payment, additional benefits, where to send correspondence, your rights of review, introduction to decision, evidence, and reasons for decision. Whew, I know that sounds like a lot, but I'm going to walk you through all of those particular aspects on your VA claim decision letter because I want you to be fully informed on everything that you need to do with regard to whether you want to submit a supplemental claim, whether you want to do a higher level review, or whether you want to accept or receive your claim as is. As is. You can't do anything like that unless you actually know what you're looking at when you're looking at your decision letter. So without further ado, let's get into it. So the first thing we want to go through as we talk about the decision letter is, why does this decision letter matter? So just to kind of define it, as we often do on the channel, the VA decision letter is the official explanation of where the benefits were granted, denied, and why. And I'm going to do something in this particular video that is going to be a little bit different. I'm going to give you some facts about the decision letter, but I'm going to go right in and show you every section of the decision letter. And whenever we do forms or specific claim forms, or correspondence on the channel, I'm going to try to go right into the correspondence so that you can see exactly how it looks and what you can look for whenever you file your claim and get correspondence back from the VA. It also helps veterans plan appeals or next steps. You won't be able to do that until you get your decision letter. Key sections of the decision letter are the narrative. This includes basic information, introduction, decision summaries, evidence list, reasons, and basis for each decision. I'm not going to get into that much right now because I'm actually going to show you the parts of the decision letter later on in this video. And I want to get to it because there's quite a bit of detail that I want to explain to you. All right, here's the introduction and basic information. Okay, so listen, guys, this is a decision letter for one of my clients. Obviously, as you know, for privacy reasons, we have redacted all of the information, but I want to show you what it's going to look like if you've never filed a claim before. I want to show you what a decision letter is going to look like once you get it back. Okay, and every decision letter you get will look like this. Unless they change it, it'll look like this or something very similar to this. What I really want you to notice is all of the information that's in the right-hand column. Right, this is an actual decision letter, for an actual veteran who actually filed a claim. Okay, so I'm going to walk you through this. This is premium content for you because I want you to have as real an example as possible. So you'll see here in the introduction basic info, there's the date. What's redacted is the veteran's name and also their address. And it says, we made a decision on your VA benefits. Look on the right-hand side. It says, we've included in this letter an explanation of payments, additional benefits, where to send your correspondence, VA Form 20-0998, the rating decision, fraud prevention attachment. I just put an arrow there so you can see that outlines everything they include in the letter. It says, "Dear so and so, this letter will guide you through the information you should know and steps you may take now that the VA has made a decision about your benefits." I kept the right hand corner information there because remember, as we've talked about so many times on this channel, family, the VA will give you so much information. They'll give you the things that you need. For example, they give you the website to vets.gov if you want to contact them. They give you the phone number. If it's TDD, which is impairment, they give you that number to send questions online. They actually have a help desk customer help desk email that you can send your email to online for questions that you have about your claim. Now, listen, I can't vouch for the efficiency of any of these, but they do have these things available. Now, the number, I'll say this, the best time to contact the VA is probably between the hours of 10 to 12 Central Standard Time. That's probably the best time to contact the VA, or, those same times Eastern Standard Time. Why? Because after 12 o'clock, most people, that's when most people say have their lunch break. People are trying to contact the VA, trying to get status on their claim. So you want to hit it right to 10 to 12 mark, and you should be perfectly fine. Adjust that time if you live in different parts of the country for standard times. The next screen we have here is your benefit information. Now listen, I have that information up there on the left-hand side. But what I want to direct your attention to is also what's on the right. Remember, it's continued information about how to contact the VA if you have questions about the decision they made, or if you have questions about any other aspect. It says there's their Twitter page, there's their Facebook page, how to obtain representation. It says for this particular event, it says we have no record of you appointing an accredited representative. Why didn't he do that? Because I helped him, right? He didn't necessarily, he didn't decide to go through a VSO or an attorney or an accredited agent or anything like that. I helped him with his claim. So, not necessary that he have an accredited representative on file. Accredited representatives are trained to help you understand and apply for VA benefits. And also, this particular individual had already filed a VA claim, so he was just trying to get an increase. For more information about how an accredited representative can help you, please visit that website. So much information on the actual correspondence that the VA sends you, and I want to make sure that I give you guys all the info about where that is. That's going to be on the right hand side of this decision letter on this particular form. You'll notice here on the left hand side that his benefit information is pretty clear. It was evaluation of carpal tunnel syndrome, right upper extremity, currently 10%, increased to 30%. Hey, listen, I'm not trying to flex here, but this is one of my clients, and this is just in evidence of what we were able to do for him and how we were able to get him increases. You'll notice some of those things remain the same. For example, the carpal tunnel syndrome left extremity went from 10 to 20. Then he had a lumbar degenerative disc disease, increased to 20%. Service connection for left lower extremity is granted. That means he didn't have that at all. We were able to find that in his record, and granted with an evaluation of 20% effective on that date. Evaluation of allergic rhinitis, which was 0%, is continued, and service connection for sinusitis was denied. And once we get to a specific part in the decision letter, you'll also notice the reasons why those things were denied as well. Look at the bottom where it says your combined rating evaluation. So in this particular case, the veteran went from 80% to 90% there at the bottom. And you'll notice that took him quite a while, but that's just because I don't think that he wanted to go for an increase. In this particular case, this client thought that if he went for an increase and he got reevaluated, that there would be a chance that some of his other ratings might decrease. But as you can see, when we did the claim for this client, when we helped prepare him for this, there was nothing that decreased for him. It only went up. And I will tell you, we kept going. And after we kept going, we were able to get the client to maximum percentage. So Just a little note for you on combined rating evaluation, and this is how your benefit information is going to look. Now let's talk about how the VA combines percentages. If you have more than one condition, the VA will combine percentages to determine your overall disability rate. The percentage assigned for each of your conditions may not always add up to your combined rating evaluation, and then they give you a website on how to combine percentages. In the next video that I do, I'm going to talk about VA math, so I won't get into it in any deep complexity here because I'm going to talk about it in the next video that I do. All right. As a vet with service-connected disability, you may be eligible for up to 40 grand in VA life insurance benefits. And I wanted to put this on here because, again, I want to show you that there's so much information on here. If you read all the way through all of the correspondence that the VA sends you, this is a decision letter, right? So you want to read all what I call the in-betweens as well. You don't want to just read, oh, how much did they give me? What's my percentage rate? What's my combined overall percentage? What's my individual, like you actually want to read everything that's on there because there could be some other programs that you qualify for that you didn't know that you qualified for. And so here you'll notice this is where your monthly entitlement amount is shown. It'll break down your monthly entitlement amount, payment start date, and the reason for that. Compensation rating adjustment is obviously the increase in percentage. Cost of living adjustment is for COLA, which we understand changes whenever you increase to a higher rate. That COLA is going to change. Minor child adjustment, it has to do with the age of the child, and then another minor child adjustment for an additional child. So that's that particular section of the decision letter, how VA combines percentages. So here's an interesting section of the VA decision letter. It says, what should you do if you disagree with our decision? Listen, you're gonna remember I told you guys you hear so much online about when you should file a higher level review, when you should file a supplemental claim, and the manner in which you do that. Um, so the VA actually talks about what your next steps are if you don't agree with what they're saying. And it kind of outlines the process a little bit here for you. It says, if you do not agree with our decision, you have 1 year from the date of this letter to select the review option in order to protect your initial filing date for effective date purposes. What that means is, let's say you filed on September 18th of 2024. That means and let's say you get your decision back, I don't know, March of 2025. It says you have 1 year from the date of that letter to select the review option to protect your initial filing date. Okay, your intent to file for effective date purposes. Meaning, in order for them to go back to September and rate you for that, right, based on what you disagreed on, you have a year from the time you get that initial rating. Y'all got it? You got the initial rating. You disagreed. You got the initial rating in March, although you submitted an intent to file back in September. You got a year from March to submit that claim in order for them to go back to September and pay you from that date. If they decide to increase your rating from there, or if they decide to make a different decision on your rating. So that's really important to know. Okay. And reading through your correspondence gives you information like this. It says the table below represents the review options in their respective required application form. So as we've talked so much, and as you've seen so much, and I got videos coming for all three of these. So if you don't remember all of this, don't worry. You don't have to remember all of this right now. I got you covered. I got videos coming for these particular options that you see here on the screen. Supplemental claim form, it shows you the form to use. High level review, it shows you the form to use. Appeals to the Board of Veterans Appeals, it shows you the form to use. I've talked about those forms on my channel. You've heard about these forms from other content creators. You've heard about these forms from your VSO. You may have heard about these forms from any attorney that you've hired. These are the standard forms that are used by the VA. Please note, you may not request a higher level review of a higher level review decision issued by the VA. So if they issue an HLR, you can't request a review of that review. You can't request an HLR of that, right? So it's kind of giving you what the parameters are of the process. Enclosed VA Form 20-TAC-0998, your right to seek review of our decision, explains your options in greater detail and provides instructions on how to request further review. You may download a copy of any of the required application forms noted above by visiting that website, which has all the publicly available forms, everything we talk about on these videos, everything you hear online, everything that's discussed in any VA correspondence or documentation can be found for free, and it's publicly available. You can look it up online, or you may contact us by telephone at 800-827-1000, and we will mail you any form that you need. If you're better at mailing or faxing correspondence, they'll mail you out those forms. Let's say you might not be great with computers and you can't print them out, or maybe you don't have a printer. They'll mail you the forms to fill out. You fill those forms out, you get all the documentation prepared, and you send it back to the VA to rate your claim. So let's continue with what you should do if you disagree with the VA's decision. They've got more information on that this form. So I'm just double checking my microphone here to see if I'm still good. I think I am. You can visit www.va.gov/decision reviews to learn more about how the disagreement process works. If you have service-connected condition which you feel has worsened and is no longer accurately reflected by the level of disability assigned, feel free to use a form that we've gone over on this channel before, VA Form 21-TAC-526 EZ, Application for Disability Compensation and Related Compensation Benefits. That first link, va.gov decision reviews, it walks you through it takes you to the va.gov website. And I'll have the link. I'll post the link in my description of this video as well. But it takes you to the va.gov website, and it shows you the parameters of disagreeing with your decision and how reviews are conducted. It sort of expands on the supplemental claim HLR BVA. So you can go there to learn about the reviews of decisions and what you can do if you disagree. And again, here it says, if you disagree with the decision made within the last year, please refer to the enclosed 20-TAC-0998, your right to seek review of our decision. If you'd like us to review a claim that was denied more than a year ago, and you have new and relevant evidence for us to consider. So it's showing you what to do at each level or every stage of your claim process. You'll use the VA Form 20-TAC-0995 supplemental claim. If you want to obtain access or evidence used in making this decision, this is important. Please contact us by telephone, email, or letter as noted below, letting us know what you'd like to obtain. Some evidence may be obtained online by visiting va.gov. That means that the VA they have streamlined a lot of the information and correspondence about your claim that you can get. Now you can go in there and get decision letters. You can go in there and get other correspondence. You can get claim letters. All of these types of things you can get on the va.gov website, because they are really ramping it up to make sure that you can have all of the information at your fingertips. Or you can use some of the other methodologies, calling, emailing, or sending them a letter. The next section is explanation of payment. Now, this is talking about the monthly entitlement. And so for this particular portion, it talks about the entitlement includes payments for the following dependents. Obviously, I've blocked out the dependents here, but then it shows the payment start date for each one of those dependents. And then you'll have future dates for when the dependents turn a certain age, right? There are future dates for the amount that will change once they get over 18. Remember, and I'll do another video about compensation rates, so you can see what those rates are, what it is when you have dependents under 18, over 18, dependents that are in school, dependents that are not in school. All of that is on the VA compensation rate tables. And so down at the bottom, it says your combined evaluation is 30% or more disabling. Therefore, you may be eligible for additional benefits based on dependency. Okay, we may be able to pay you retroactive benefits for your dependents if you submit your dependency claim within a year from the date of this letter. If you wish to notify us of your dependents, please do so through e-benefits and electronic resource and self-service environment. All right, so just so you know, e-benefits is not necessarily a thing anymore. You go to va.gov to do all of that, and then it shows you the application to request, add, or remove dependents. And it continues with things affecting your right to payment. Notice here it says notify the VA if there's a change in any condition affecting your right to continue payments. If you don't notify us of these changes immediately, you may have to return any overpayments. Now look at this. Okay, this is right on the form of your decision letter. Um, Evidence received shows a change in warranted, and it runs through the different types of situations where your payment could change, where you should notify the VA if there's any change in your situation. Okay, I'll leave that up there on the screen. Dependents, if you have a disability rating of 30% or more, you must advise the VA of any change with your spouse or children. Hospitalization, if your work includes aid and attendance benefits, we may reduce this additional allowance if you're admitted to a hospital, nursing home, or domicile care at VA expense. Incarceration, lack of cooperation, they'll stop it if you fail to submit evidence that they ask for, if you fail to attend a VA examination when requested, if you submit fraudulent evidence. All of those things could stop your monthly payments. So pay attention to what's happening and what's going on. And remember, make sure everything is current, accurate, and complete. Make sure you have integrity in everything you do with regard to the VA. Don't lie to them. The law provides severe penalties, which include fines, imprisonment, or both, for the fraudulent acceptance of any payment to which you are not entitled. We may verify information you submit through computer matching programs with other agencies. Okay, family, I won't go over all of the additional benefits, but here are some more benefits that will be of assistance to you: education, training, employment benefits, and it has the links on there as well. If you look at the form, even the decision letter, it kind of preps you up for the next steps to apply for further benefits, particularly if you find yourself at 100%. There are so many other benefits available. And so this is a section in your VA correspondence. And again, it's publicly available and it'll be on your decision letter. So you can read through there, see which benefits apply to you, and govern yourselves accordingly. Then there's more: home adaptation loan, automobile benefits, life insurance, armed forces, commissary and exchange, payment for travel, state benefits. By the way, we're gonna do videos on all of these things. Trust me, we will get to all of these different specific types of benefits, and a lot of it really connects once you actually get your VA claim compensation rating, right? Because when we talk about the VA disability matrix, uh, benefits matrix, it talks about what you get at certain levels of benefit. And then there are specific criteria for your state, right? Some states have property tax exemptions for people who are 100% permanent and total and above. Other states have different types of benefits where you can get fishing, hunting licenses, those kinds of things for free, an array of other benefits that are available to you depending on where you live. And so these are just a few of the additional benefits. Now, if you disagree with the decision letter, or if you have other questions, this is a page that talks about where to send your correspondence, and it tells you that right on the decision letter. All right, mail, in person, several tools to assist electronic submission. You can upload supporting evidence. Oh, look at it. We've done a video on quick submit, access.va.gov. You can submit it there as well. All right, by visiting va.gov, you can also check your claim status and learn about other benefits. If you need assistance, you can find a local accredited representative. I've already provided that in one of my other videos as well. How you can find an accredited representative or a VSO or an attorney on that same website. And here is just a snapshot of where to send your correspondence, depending on what type of claim that you're disagreeing with, or depending on what type of claim that you are filing or seeking correspondence for. You've got compensation benefits, pension and survivors benefits, Board of Veterans Appeals, and if it's a fiduciary, there are specific addresses for all of those things. And as always, there is a slot for the Veterans Crisis Line in every documentation that the VA sends out, just about every one. And I always mention, there is help, there is hope, particularly when I do my mental health videos. Always a crisis line, always support for you if you need help. Your right to seek review of our decision. Here's another just really good chart, okay? And this just goes in depth on your decision letter about, if you have a disagreement. This goes in a little bit more in depth about at each level, at each disagreement level, let's call them, at each option, what you can expect. And look at the goal to complete. It says the goal to complete. The goal to complete is 125 days on average for a supplemental claim, 125 for a high-level review, board appeal, 365 days on average for direct review, longer for other options. Now remember, those goal to complete days change, okay? Depends on the backlog at the VA and how long it's taking them, okay? But check it out. You can scan a code to access the form directly, okay? I haven't tried it, but you could probably scan the QR code right on this video to go straight to that form if you wanted to, or pull up the form and do it yourself. Further options after this decision review. It's laying it out for you guys. If you do a supplemental claim, it'll give you options after that. If you do an HLR, it'll give you options after that. If you do a board appeal, it'll give you options after that. You can appeal to the U.S. Court of Appeals for veterans claims. I bet you didn't know that. I bet you didn't know you could appeal to USCA. I bet you didn't know that, but you can. And it shows you right here on the form. Another great thing that it shows you is right there. For most VA benefits, you have 1 year. Pay attention, you guys, it's right at the bottom. From the date on your decision notice to request a decision review to ensure the earliest possible effective date. Consult your decision notice for specific limitations. All right, and it even gives you a spot where you can find all of the forms. Listen, guys, the forms are the cheat sheet. Whether you get decision letters, supplemental claim form, 526 easy form, these are all cheat sheets for you to file your claim successfully. And this is more information about your right to seek review. It's just a regurgitation of the information, just as a reminder to you. It even talks about a request to review based on clear and unmistakable error, which we've been talking about a lot. Like you could request that, and these are the forms that you would use to do it. A party to a contested claim, board appeal within 60 days. If you're new of seeking a review of an insurance decision, shows you what to do there, and shows you all the parameters of that as well. All right, now we're going to get into something called the rating decision. Okay, now we did some intro information about the veteran before, right? But that was just an introduction to all of the basic info on the letter. Now we get into the good stuff. Now we get into the nitty gritty, where we are actually going to look at the actual veteran's decision. And this is a real decision, guys. This is a real decision. So let's take a deeper dive into the veteran's decision. So the first thing you're going to notice about this portion of the decision letter is, again, it's redacted. The vet's name and VA file number are redacted, but you're going to notice an introduction locating what type of veteran this is. Records reflect that you are a veteran of the Gulf War. You served in the Navy from April 24th, 97 to April 2017. You filed a claim for increased evaluation and a new claim for benefits that was received on May 10th, 2024. Based on a review of the evidence listed below, we have made the following decision on your claim. Now, I'm going to run through this because I think a lot of the structural information you guys already know, but I want to go through this just to make sure that we are on the same page. Decision: evaluation carpal tunnel, right upper extremity, which is currently 10%. Disabling is increased to 30% effective September 20. Remember, there was a summary of the decisions earlier in the letter. This is now going over the decision again, talking about the increase, and it's going to talk about the reasons why they made the choices that they made a little bit later on as well. Carpal tunnel left upper extremity increased to 20% from 10 to 20. Evaluation of lumbar degenerative disc disease, which is currently at 10, is increased to 20%. Service connection for left lower extremity, lumbar radicopathy is granted. This is a sciatic nerve, is granted with an evaluation of 20% effective in 2023 on September 20th. Okay. Now, the decision section continued. evaluation of allergic rhinitis, also claiming sinusitis, is continued at 0%, and they're going to tell you why later on. Connection with sinusitis is denied. Let's look at the evidence that was submitted for this claim. It's got service treatment records, you'll notice. It's got um, uh, VAMC treatment records. It's got CMP exams that were submitted as evidence. Remember, we've been talking about how your CMP exam counts as evidence. That's the reason why it's so important. I talked about CMP exams on the previous video that I did, so make sure you go check that out on my channel. But your CMP exam becomes evidence to your claim, right? Because this is part of what they look at when they say, does he have continuity, or does he or she have continuity of symptoms? Okay, so DD-214, obviously, and application for benefits, all of these things. Obviously, we filed a new intent to file because it had been so long, but they backdated him, as you'll notice, from from when we filed the intent to file. You notice the backdate is from September 23, and that's a good example. Backdated September 23, and they made a decision. Um, they made a decision on his claim later in September, later in 2024. They made a decision on the claim, but it was backdated to when the intent to file was submitted. Okay, so this is the evidence. Let's get into the reasons for decision. All right, so carpal tunnel increased to 30%. The evidence of record does demonstrate that an increased evaluation for your service-connected disability is warranted. Evidence of this granted September 20th, 2023, been established from the day the VA received your intent to file. So here it is in black and white on a decision letter, the things we've been talking about. So people aren't just, I'm not just blowing smoke on this channel. People aren't just blowing smoke. This is proof that you get your back pay, you get your decision as of the date that the VA receives your intent to file a claim for compensation. All right, and then it gives you a 38 CFR reference. We have assigned a 30% evaluation for your carpal tunnel based on incomplete paralysis of the major extremity. Let's move on in the decision letter. A higher evaluation of 50% is not warranted for paralysis of the median nerve unless the evidence shows nerve damage is severe. Now, here's what I want to say to you guys. This is why this piece of it is so important. I am often saying to read your whole decision letter because you take this reasons for decision section and you use that to build your supplemental claim, or you build more evidence for your supplemental claim. Now, remember, when you go to higher level review, you're not submitting new evidence. So, take some time. If you don't like this decision, take some time to build more evidence, right? That's the best strategy. Build more evidence, going more to the doctor. If something's really hurting you, actually getting your checkups done, doing your appointments, making sure that it's documented in your record so that you can establish the nexus and establish the diagnosis and establish current symptomology from what you had going on in service. It's much easier to do if you're already service connected for something. Okay? And so what do you think we did? I'm not going to show you the 100% letter, but we did that. We followed that strategy, and we resubmitted, right? And after we resubmitted, it got the veteran to where he desired to be with regard to maximum compensation on his claim. Evaluation of carpal tunnel syndrome. Evaluation of carpal tunnel is increased to 20%. The evidence of record does demonstrate that increased evaluation is warranted. The effective date of this grant is September 20th, 2023. The increased evaluation has been established. I always want to look at why a higher evaluation is not granted. A higher evaluation is not warranted for paralysis and median nerve unless nerve damage is severe. It's the same thing as the other one. It's just a bilateral rating. Understood? Same thing. Let's move on. Lumbar degenerative disc disease. This is the back lumbosacral strain. Increased to 20 from 10. Let's go down. And so all the rest of it is the same. Going back to the ITF, all of that. All right. During your VA examination, this is interesting. During your VA examination, the examiner noted the new diagnosis is a progression of your service-connected lumbosacral strain. That was noted on the exam, a progression of symptoms. When we talked about continuity of symptoms, existence of a diagnosis, service connection, all of that is in there. We have assigned a 20% evaluation for your lumbosacral strain, claimed as back condition based on forward flexion of the thoracolumbar spine greater than 30 degrees, but not greater than 60. This is the thing that they do in the VA exam, in the CMP exam, that shows range of motion. Okay, forward flexion. All right, service connection for left lower lumbar radicopathy as secondary to the service-connected disability of lumbar degenerative disease, all the same. All right. Um, They this watch this. This is interesting. You did not specifically claim left lower extremity lumbar radiculopathy, but we inferred it on your behalf based on the evidence of record. The evidence was so strong in this particular veteran's claim that they inferred radiculopathy because it showed that he had been seen and treated for it. It showed the connection. Okay. Higher evaluation of 40% is not warranted unless nerve damage is moderately severe. All of these were the same reasons. Okay. Now, next we're going to look at what happens when something is kept at its own, kept at disabling. That's what we're going to look at next. So let's look at the service connection for sinusitis due to an undiagnosed illness. And so now we're going to get into some of the things that the veteran claimed that he did not receive an increase for, or perhaps that he was denied for. Okay, so I'm not going to read through this whole thing, but what they're saying in this particular aspect is that the veteran was denied this disability, sinusitis, because it did not arise during service in or in the airspace above all of those places. Remember, in order for it to be an MUMIC claim, it has to be diagnosed in one of those places, right? It has to arise during service in one of those places. It says the service treatment records do contain complaints, treatment, or diagnosis similar to that claimed, and the medical evidence supports the conclusion that a persistent disability was not present in service. The evidence doesn't show a current diagnosed disability. Remember, we've always talked about that being one of the elements that you need. Okay, and so it says that the VAMC treatments are silent for complaints, treatment, or diagnosis of sinusitis. Additionally, we did not receive any private treatment records with complaints, treatment, or diagnosis of sinusitis. Complaints, treatment, diagnosis. Look at the order that they're giving you. And remember, it's in that particular order that the VA kind of looks at things. Complaints, treatment, diagnosis. You have to have evidence claiming that things happened, right? In this case, the veteran did remember those things, but I don't believe that there was strong enough evidence in that case for him to be able to do it. So we gave it a shot, but we knew that there was going to be an uphill battle with that. So there are other ways to do it. He could file a supplemental claim, higher level review, or go to the Board of Veterans Appeals if he feels like that he disagrees with that decision. Service connection may be granted for any disease or injury that is considered to have resulted in a period of war service. To prove service connection, and remember, you're going to see this on every single one of these videos we do, and you should see it online with everybody else who does VA claim content creation. Your VSO should be telling you this. Medical evidence of a current disability, medical evidence or in certain circumstances, lay testimony of an in-service occurrence or aggravation of injury or disease, and medical evidence of a nexus or relationship between current disability and in-service disease or injury. Those are the three legs on the stool or the chair, so to speak, or the table of VA claim disability: in-service event, nexus, medical evidence of a diagnosis, and current disability. Okay, make sure you have that no matter where you are in your claims process. And your decision letter lets you know about that, right? So here's just some more information. Disability which being in service must be considered, watch this, chronic before service connection can be granted. Remember we talked about chronic versus acute. Acute meaning something that just happened to you one time and it doesn't continue to happen. It's not recurring. Chronic being something that is continued and recurring, right? That's the difference. Okay, chronic disability, although there is a record treatment in service for rhinosinusitis, no permanent residual or chronic disability subject to service connection is shown by the service medical records, meaning you didn't continue to have it. right? You had it one time, you didn't continue to have it. Perhaps he didn't go to the doctor more. Perhaps within that 1 year after he got out, he didn't continue to go to the doctor. And so that's the case. All right. They do grant favorable findings, toxic exposure, qualifying event, having its onset during service, and there are positive complaints and treatment for rhinosinusitis. But that's just an acute treatment for that. And there's a list of references there as well. All right, best and families, now let's do a quick recap of everything we discussed in this video. We got to remember that once you get your VA decision letter, you got to know that letter inside out. You want to read every single aspect of it carefully. Look for the VA's reasons for denials, for approvals, and for deferred claims as well. Some people think you shouldn't look at the approval rating, but as I've showed you in this video, look at the approvals as well so that you can see what you need to do to get an increase if you disagree with the actual rating level that you got for that particular claimed condition, right? I've showed you each one of the sections, highlight the evidence that the VA used, right? Look at it, examine it, make sure if you do something else that you have the evidence that they're looking for, or make sure that they didn't overlook anything. Understand all of your ratings, compare the VA's percentage with the rating criteria for your condition, ask some questions. Do these percentages match the severity of the symptoms that I'm going through? And if not, if you feel like you need to keep going, remember the VA always rates activities of daily living, functional impact, not just diagnoses. Okay. So then after you do all of this, after you really thoroughly review that decision letter, then you may make a determination, maybe by yourself or with your family, of whether or not you want to appeal that decision. If the rating or decision doesn't reflect your reality, you can always do a high-level review, supplemental claim, or the Board of Veterans Appeals. If you're satisfied with everything you see on there, and you don't want to, as they say, poke the bear, then you don't have to do an appeal of any kind. But know your rights if you do decide to do an appeal, because you do have that right as a veteran to appeal. Listen, I want to thank you guys for watching. I appreciate you sticking around for me. This video, as well as some of the other videos, I know have been a little bit long, but it takes some time to explain some of the parts of this VA process so that you can make sure you're doing the right thing. Listen, I have a heart for veterans. I love helping veterans get the benefits that they've earned and deserve. So if you like what we're doing, if that's your heart too, click like, click subscribe. Again, you can watch all my stuff and probably get everything you need in order to do your VA claim and have a favorable and successful outcome. But if you need additional help, I'm available, CraigC@RoyalRockLLC.com. I would love to help you out, and the price that I charge is very, very reasonable. Trust me on your claim, because I do not believe that a veteran should have to pay an arm and a leg or a small fortune to get their claim done and get the benefits that they deserve. Remember, your benefits matter. Your benefits count. Your conditions matter. They count. Your clarity matters. Your healing deserves a legitimate and confident process. And that's what we're here to give you at Royal Rock LLC and at Royal Rock Wellness on the YouTube counseling channel. So keep reclaiming your purpose and keep living royally and living well. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.